And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We all have seen the videos on the local news. Individuals followed home, brutally beaten, and robbed in their own home. Now, this is a trend that we're seeing in the Houston area. People have been followed from upscale areas like the River Oaks Shopping District, Galleria, high-end jewelry stores, and they're being followed home and then robbed and brutally beaten. Joining us to talk about this and how to protect yourself, if you're one of those people out there who may be kind of flashy, and that may be part of the problem, is Greg Dupree. He's with TLAC, and that's Think Like a Cop, TLAC. Greg, glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. I'm sure you have seen these very disturbing videos out there where people have been followed home from a night of partying at either a nightclub or having dinner, and they're followed to their upscale communities and then just attacked and robbed. Your thoughts on that?
That's for sure, Isaiah. I've seen that, especially in my experience as being a law enforcement officer. I saw quite a bit as well. One of the things about these type of situations is that a lot of people put themselves in these situations, or they make themselves more vulnerable because they tend to lack situational awareness about where they are, where they park their car, or even when they're leaving, driving home, paying attention to see if anyone is following. And if you're intoxicated, that can just make a bad situation worse.
Absolutely. I mean, I think key is being cognizant, aware of your surroundings, who's watching you, who's behind you. And
Exactly.
Some people don't even have to drink not to pay attention. And I just don't get that. I'm always looking around me.
That's for sure. And the thing is, before you leave the house, you should have a plan just in case a situation like this presents itself. You want to know what to do when it happens. It's generally, when a situation like this develops and you start thinking about what to do at that point, it's generally too late.
One of the situations we saw was an individual couple, they cooperated with the burglary or robbery suspects, and the man was still shot in the face. I mean, it's like, what can you do in a situation like that?
Well, the thing about that, and that's a good point you bring up about that incident, is that people have to realize, you're told a lot of times in safety presentations that your life is not worth your property. So just comply with what the robber or the criminal is doing, and, it increases your chances of survival. In this day and age, that's not always true. Compliance does not guarantee survival. So you should have a plan, some type of safety plan to protect you and your loved ones, both inside and outside of your home. Alarms are always a good start. Lighting's a good start. But once they follow you in from an undisclosed location, if you don't have a plan of action or some type of defense at that point, it can lead to a very serious situation as it did in that incident.
We know firearms, that tends to be a personal choice for many people. Would you recommend, if you are one of these individuals who may be shopping out, spending thousands of dollars buying expensive jewelry, or at the Galleria spending tens of thousands of dollars, even though you're not talking about cash, you're talking about mainly credit cards and all of that. But if you're one of those people, would you carry a gun? We know Texas is going to soon be the Wild Wild West with open carry, and no one is required to have a permit. Would you consider at this point buying a gun?
At this point, I would suggest having some type of defense system, but that depends on the individual. It can be lethal or non-lethal. It doesn't necessarily have to be a gun. It can be pepper spray or a taser. But my biggest recommendation is, no matter what defense system you choose, you should be very familiar with that system. To use it for the first time in an incident, you've never practiced with it before, whether it's a gun, whether it's pepper spray, or whether it's a taser, you don't know how you're going to react, and you might not know how to handle the weapon if it malfunctions. So you want to be well-versed in properly using whatever weapon you choose to carry. But I would definitely recommend that you have some type of defensive weapon with you.
Be careful out there, folks. It's getting crazy. Now, you can get in touch with Greg and TLAC through the places on your screen there. You can email Greg directly or visit TLAC's Facebook page or website, www.tlacnow.com. We'll be back with more Factor Uncensored in a moment. Stay with us.